Radio, part of the Dangerous Grounds Network. I'm your host, Doc Collins, veteran, author, and I'm sharing with you Chapter 11 as we make our way toward the release of the upcoming novel, 1,300 Hours. Tonight I'd like to thank a few sponsors. We have Combat Flip-Flops. You can find them at combatflipflops.com. Bad for running, worse for fighting. Also, Willie Pete's Chocolate, the Black Ops Dark Chocolate infused with Black Rifle coffee beans and black cherries marinated in Black Flag rum can be yours. It is a no heat on the Scoville scale treat that you can find online at www.williepeets.com. Sponsor I'll mention at this point in the show, beard.com. That's right, No Shave November, brought to you by beard.com. Creators of fine beard care and grooming products at exactly beard.com. Grown in the northern Idaho woods, brought to you by the same minds creatively that bring us the Arc 15 clothing line, Warfighter Tobacco, and Lead Slinger Spirits. Folks, again, I am your host, veteran, and author, Doc Collins. And so last week, on episode 10, we read chapter 10. I'd like to go through a little bit of the recap as Patriot Heart Radio gives you a behind-the-scenes POV on exactly what has gone into creating the first of this 5-book series that began while I was still an active duty combat medic serving in Virginia. Chapter 10 gave us a little closer look at how Dalton respects Ava's profession. He was kind of romancing her as he decided he was going to go back to her workplace after their physical therapy session at his clinic. And when he was walking with her through the halls, he was a little bit used to that fandom, that star reaction from others as they realized who he was. In this instance, he got to see Ava as the rock star, even as Captain Stenberg, as a nurse working in the ER at MCV Hospital. He saw how the staff responded to her walking through the hallways, and he got a third-party perspective of somebody else being a rock star in their profession. It was the chapter where they were to have their first date, where previously Dalton had manned up and asked her on a proper date and gone shopping. They got outfits worked out. Ava consulted Huma, her girlfriend, the westernized Muslim girlfriend of hers, and she got to wear the strappy cork wedge shoes from the wedding she didn't get to attend because she wound up toying. All of that. He shows up, flowers in hand, shiny Alfa Romeo, ready for a night out, and a burn victim is brought in and steals the night from them for that time, where Ava needs to be Captain Stenberg. She was reminded of one of the casualties that she was caring for in the second chapter of this book, that she was not able to save. And it's a very tough chapter to read. As you know, my listeners know, I've written this content, and it is an amalgamation of my life experiences and the experiences of those very close to me that have shared their firsthand perspective. And so when we're talking about something as tragic as children encountering just the worst hands that life has to deal, from a perspective of a professional that needs to maintain their professionalism while caring for them, I hope that I've done it justice by articulating this last chapter. Dalton remains sensitive as he bears witness to what could be the day in and day out operations of a civilian nurse, let alone a nurse or someone in the medical field that is deployed. You know, the day-to-day operations in theater, depending on where in the world one finds themselves, may be hit and miss, or maybe have a couple of experiences. and then it may be a deluge of just trauma and terror. And so we want to remain sensitive to those that have encountered those things maybe once, or it was just part of their life pattern. So this weekend, as we head into Veterans Day, if you work with a prior service person in any field or profession, we just pray that you would show them that respect and remain sensitive to that. But also bear in mind that they are likely more equipped to handle situations that the civilian world may encounter, but is maybe not as prepared for emotionally. So you can always find safety in the care of someone that has encountered the worst that life has to deal out. Chapter 10 shows us that moment, their date, their pre-planned evening was derailed. But in Dalton's sensitivity, as he escorts her back to her home after she's finished caring for the young victim, he just moves into a mode of caring for her and meeting her at her emotional need. Her physical exhaustion is more than apparent. But then when she calls out to him in the very end, he steps up to the plate, or in this case, into the shower with her, fully clothed, completely forgetting himself and just meeting her at her need. And they do meet each other at their respective needs at the end of that chapter very sweetly. Leading us into chapter 11, which I'll be excited to share with you when we come back from this one track that will serve as the soundtrack, if you will, for this upcoming chapter 11. Folks, I'm your host, veteran, and author, Doc Collins, sharing with you Chapter 11 on Episode 11 of Patriot Heart Radio, part of the Dangerous Grounds Network. And now, Chapter 11. To that first night together, spring was beginning to melt off traces of the lingering winter, granting the pair a slow, sunny morning together. Ava had grown fond of having Dalton stay the night as often as it made sense. She slept better with him beside her, snoring, then left us with a silence that quickly became deafening. Her dreams had stirred her awake more than once, but she caught herself before lashing out too wildly. Although she was also certain, as heavy a sleeper as Dalton appeared to be, that he was being polite by not bringing it up. She counted herself fortunate, so far, that the demons of her past, and even twisted realities that her mind would attempt to convince had alternate endings, had remained in the darkest recesses of her subconscious. Dalton innocently began taking up residence at hers, starting with a toothbrush, a change of clothes for the clinic, the gym, jackets, Sabine. Eventually, his own groceries had a little section in the refrigerator. He always felt her slip out of bed before him, but he would lay still, watching her through veiled eyes. The beauty she embodied to him, the simplicity of her fit form, gliding to the vanity to brush her teeth, her hair, or to put in her contacts, had remained brand new all this time. The little muscles in her back, her triceps, the feathering of her hamstrings with each step, every detail fascinated him. With time, he learned to stir enough where he was to announce his being awake. It took but once to be intercepted by Zeno when quietly approaching an unsuspecting Ava one morning that stayed fresh in his mind. Sometimes she'd let him come to her at the sink, and they'd study their reflection together, to the amazement of them both. For each their own reasons, their sweet reality often remained a great mystery. Even still, the mysterious status of their couple had not prevented Ava from giving a key for Dalton to her townhouse. She even had it cut out of a New York Yankees novelty key at the hardware store. He talked more about growing up watching the Yankees play on television with his father more than his actual experience playing for the Seattle Mariners. Ava watched Dalton's craggy frame come into focus in the mirror as he made his way to her side to brush his perfect teeth. Lost in thought, she stood in only a pair of boxer shorts, twirling the Tiffany pendant on her rose gold chain he'd given her just weeks before. She loved to watch him brush his teeth with such charisma. Her smile that grew to a tiny snicker gave him pause in mid-stroke. What? Am I doing it wrong? His sudsy mouth made him sound like a cartoon character to her. She laughed out loud at his query. No, I was just taking notes. Okay, well, pay close attention because this is how it's done. The last word, he barely managed, produced a sink splatter with toothpaste. They both laughed at that. Tiniest dab at the corner of his mouth was irresistible to Ava, and she kissed it from his mouth. Well, did I miss something? I swear I got it all. She slurped. I got it. He landed a kiss on her lips. As she folded her hands behind his neck, they spoke simultaneously. Good morning. Ava's hands slid quickly over his chest, much more slowly over his slab of the stomach. The idea of David being carved by Michelangelo flashed in her mind nearly every time she did that. She stopped her fingertips just below his navel, quickly placing a kiss on his lips, saying the magic word, coffee. With that, they both sprung to action. Ava threw her long-sleeved tee on and raced to the kitchen. Dalton ran a comb through his hair and slipped it back beneath a beanie. As he searched for his clothes, he set aside for the morning paddleboard session. Ava made her way with 2 cups of hot java up the stairs in time to see a blur of a green beanie and white cheeks dart across the doorway. By the time she made her way to the side table with the mismatched ceramic mugs, she turned in time to see him tighten the drawstrings of his surf pants. His shirtless frame lured her thoughts from going paddleboarding to the bed as she stood at the foot of it. Ava allowed him to pull his shirt down over his head before handing him his mug of coffee, like a fragile egg, which he took from her just as carefully. Breathing deeply, of the aromatic beans ground perfectly to show their best